All right, what is up, everybody? It's Abe again with another Lullaby Stories. Today's guest, we got Ashley, aka Misery, up in the building.
Hi.
Me and her met through Electrostep's Discord server. If you're not a part of that, definitely join up. I've met such incredible people like Ashley, a part of this, and everything I've heard so far from these artists have been absolutely fire. So, without further
Thank you.
ado,
Thank
let's
you.
go ahead and get started. Ashley, how the fuck are you today?
I'm good. I'm alive. I'm currently chugging my energy slurry slush that I drink every morning. Um, yeah, I got a show tonight. Gonna be playing out at Arcadia, so that dates this recording, I guess, but I'm excited about it. Um, yeah. Hi, glad to be here.
You gonna be playing out any like whips or new tracks at the function?
Yeah, actually, the I sent you a song to preview. Stay tuned at
Very
the end of this
awesome.
interview. I'm gonna be
Oh
playing that one
yeah.
out.
We're
Played it out
definitely gonna
last
be
time I
playing
was
the
there.
bangers.
It works live.
Hell yeah.
It's very experimental and it's um something new. I think I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but I think it might be a little like it's kind of pioneering. Like
Hell
it's
yeah.
out there.
No, we love that here. We love that here. Isn't it like just such a great feeling that you whip out this track, right? And like if you don't have the sound system, you can't really hear it, but like you play it out live and you're just like, all right, this slaps. Like, you know what I mean? You get to a certain point that like, you hear it good on everything else, but like it's just whenever you hear it on the system, it just hits. It
It
just
wasn't
hits so
even for me,
differently.
it wasn't even about the system. It was just getting to see the crowd's reaction of like because it's the point of I used to be known as Dosage, and
Mhm.
I was very much a death step DJ. I made death step, I played death step, I was known for death step. And I felt really boxed in. So like to the point that I had to take a break from music and like redefine what I wanted from music and who I was in terms of music. And so I came back as Misery, sort of with a no genres approach. And of course, I found myself naturally gravitating back towards heavy sounds because that's what I enjoy. But I'm now doing it with a more open perspective.
Right.
Um, and you never know how people are going to react to that. And seeing that people like it clicked, like people got it instantly. It was like, okay, cool, we're good.
I love that. I love that. Now for like how long have you been making music though?
About 13 years. I started when I was 15 years old. I got
Oh wow.
gifted Ableton Live for Christmas.
Hell yeah,
uh
Ableton, screw, let's go.
I don't understand FL. I've tried to use it, it confuses me. um yeah, I was gifted Ableton Live, and this was back in the era where there wasn't like a million YouTube tutorials and internet resources. So I just sat there for like a year teaching myself what am I doing? How does this work? I actually read the manual. I had the like thick manual. I actually sat and read that.
Yes.
How long I've been at this.
That's
Um
awesome. People actually really sleep on that manual, but I remember when I first started, I had one of my friends, he was like, dude, this is gonna sound super like kind of like an
Obvious.
asshole and
Read the
obvious at the
manual.
same time. Just read the manual. Like I'm not
It
trying
will
to be a
help.
dick, but just read the manual. It will help
Please do.
you.
It will help you. You'll go,
It
I
will
didn't. But even if you're like accustomed to the program, there's things that's like, oh, I didn't know Ableton could do that. Okay, cool.
literally. Literally, and I still to this day, especially when I collab with people, I'm just like, "How the fuck did you just do that?" And he's like, "Oh, dude, let me show you real quick." And
Oh
like,
yeah, it's
like
just you push Control plus Shift plus 9 plus. I mean, no,
exactly. Like, I think
whatever.
my new thing that I had learned, um, was like utilizing hotkeys more, like
Mm.
and just like being able to just tap one button and I can like solo a track or whatever kind of thing and do like an A/B comparison between the two.
Oh
That's been
yeah, super
super helpful.
useful. Super
Uh,
useful.
Inserting time, silencing time kind of thing has been super helpful. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like it's been pretty fun. So I saw that you played some shows in the past. Tell me
Yes.
like about those shows and tell me what's been your favorite so far.
Oh, my favorite show that I've played. So I most of these shows will have been played as Dosage because Misery is a new project, and the tour for Misery actually begins this month.
Oh shit.
out in well, we're doing the Arcadia show tonight, and then we're doing a show in Idaho at the end of the month. Um, but as Dosage, I played a lot around Atlanta. So of course I played the Imagine Festival, not on a main stage, but in an official capacity.
Mhm.
Um, my favorite show that I've played, there are two that compete with each other, three
Oh,
really, but
okay.
I don't want to take too much time. One of them was a unofficial campground set that I did Imagine at like 4 in the morning
Oh wow.
because and both have to do with the crowd. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna hang out in my tent until it's time to play. I was hanging out in the campgrounds and I fell asleep. Uh, I woke up like 10 minutes before I had to go on stage. So I'm
Oh wow.
sprinting across the campgrounds, putting my like leather mask that I wore on. I come up from behind where the stage is. So I kind of push through the tent. I'm like half asleep still. So I don't make an entrance. I don't pick up the mic, anything. I just walk up, hug the other guy, plug in, throw down for like an hour, pull out, go back to my tent, go back to sleep. I wake up the next day and someone has actually posted on the Imagine subreddit trying to find me. They're like, "Who's the crow? The nurse crow mask kid? What the fuck was that?" That one was super fun.
Dude, that sounds
Um,
super fun.
and
That sounds
then
like
I
a
got
really fun time.
It was. And then I also got to play I played the welcome stage of Imagine one year. They used to have this stage that was
I think I've
like
seen
right.
that.
Yeah, you would walk into the festival and they had a DJ playing like right, you had to walk past us to go see
That's
anyone
pretty
else.
sick. Yeah.
Um and most people would stop for a while, they'd listen, they'd dance, whatever, and then they would go see whoever they were going to see. I had
Right.
one dude stop and listen to my whole set.
I
And I
love
was
that.
like, that means the world to me because whoever the fuck you were gonna go see back there, who I guarantee had more influence than me at that point, you decided no, I'm gonna be right here.
This is where I need to
That
be.
that was like, okay, I'm doing something right. I'm doing something right.
Hell yeah. It's funny because what I've learned, like, especially when you're playing, is sometimes all it takes is that one person and you just focus in on that one person
Yeah.
kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's
Oh
your
yeah.
energy. That's your like, all right, let me keep going.
That's your dude. Yeah.
That's your dude. That's the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or girl. I don't discriminate, right?
I've spent too much time on the West Coast for dude to be a gendered word to me. Um,
But hell yeah. So like, do you just produce? Do you sing any? Like
so
what do you typically do?
I produce, I play piano, I do vocals, I play guitar, I can play bass, I can play drums. I'm the vocalist in a band called Tyrant Hex. I primarily do metal vocals, screams, roughs, that kind of stuff, but I do cleans as well.
Nice.
I sing on all my own music, so any of the Misery projects that are out right now, which are very much not dubstep, they're all what I've released so far has been like the experiments that I was doing leading up to this, which have been
Yeah.
like breakcore influenced singer so indie pop. I have no idea how to explain it. I would sit down and make things and then I'd sing over them. I've done everything on the Misery record so far, including the vocals. Um, yeah, I'm primarily known as like a producer engineer. Like that's what I do. I DJ and engineer, but I am classically trained. I was trained in piano and vocals by a very lovely woman from the St. Petersburg Conservatory in Russia,
Oh,
who was an
wow.
opera singer. She taught me how to sing because believe it or not, metal and opera are not that different in vocal technique
Oh, I
in
didn't know
terms that they
this.
both so you're using totally different parts of your voice, but
Okay.
they're both extremely loud and extremely taxing. Opera is actually more dangerous for your vocal folds than metal is, if you do it improperly, because you have to project so much that if you're stressing your throat, you can develop vocal polyps and such. So while the techniques and sounds are very different, a lot of the stuff with the diaphragm and the support of the body is the same, to ensure that you're not going to, like literally vomit your vocal cords into your mouth. Which did happen to someone I knew once.
No
Uh,
way.
yeah, he was playing drums and screaming, and he was looking straight up because that's where the microphone that could pick up his voice was, and he,
Uh-huh.
and he like, spit part of his throat up into his mouth.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was physically possible.
That's the
That's
story I've been
wild.
told.
So 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 you've been producing for a while, right? So tell
Yeah.
me who's been like your inspiration kind of thing, right? Like where do you draw inspiration whenever you typically use reference tracks like to get your mix on point and whatnot? Like who do you kind of
Okay.
like look for those kind of things?
Well, so I use a lot of artists because I do a lot of styles. I can tell
Right.
you sort of, I can give you this like spread breakdown. The
Do it.
reason that I produce electronic music is the Prodigy. I was raised on like punk and metal, and my mom had a Prodigy CD. I believe it was Fat of the Land, the classic, in her stuff, and I listened to it, and I was like, "Oh my god, you can make computers angry! I have to know how to do this like immediately." And then my like my manager described him as my godhead figure for a very long time was Excision. I went to
Yep.
my first rave when I was like 15, and it was Excision and Liquid Stranger on the X Vision tour. And I was like, this is incredible. I've never experienced music that can physically like because it's bass music is different. It hits your body and you vibrate, like all of you moves, and it's a very intimate connection with like what's going on. It's crazy. I'd never experienced that before. So Excision was like my big lead for a while. My number one favorite producer of all time, and the person I aspire to be like in terms of my emotional impact, is
Mhm.
Porter Robinson.
I saw
Um,
your little thing on Discord that was a line from Cheerleader, which by the way, I listened to that song when it came
so
out
good.
like over 20 times.
I listened to it. I got my stats back. I listened to it on Tidal. I have 58 plays last month of Cheerleader.
It's such a good song.
It's
I'm
so
so
good.
ready for this album.
It doesn't even come close to the number of times I listened to Get Your Wish when that came out. I think it was like 113.
Yes. I
Like,
think Porter is a perfect example of an artist that like I've stuck with over the years.
yeah.
Like every iteration of Porter, like I've been
Yeah,
here
he
for
he reinvents himself every single time and lands
every
it.
single time.
Every single time. That's the most impressive thing in the world to me. I've done it once and it took me 2 years off from the music industry to figure out my new sound and what I was doing and stuff. And he's just like, I could just reinvent myself at will.
It's just
Okay.
wild. Just
Um,
wild.
and then when I'm reaching for reference tracks,
Mhm.
especially if I'm making like heavy bass or whatever,
Sure.
classic answer, but like Code Pandorum is that's my guy. Sven is super cool. I love his sound. I love his style. Him and Quiet, him and I've listened to a lot of Heck lately.
Okay.
Uh, I wouldn't say I reference my mixes off of him, but I definitely play his stuff like when I play out live because Anti Life is nuts.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Um,
No, that's awesome.
yeah.
So
So
let's see here. So like in your experience in the scene, like
mm,
how have you enjoyed it? Like tell me a little bit about that stories and whatnot. Like I like what's it like
so
breaking out like and doing your tour and everything.
so I have been in the scene for over 10 years now, which is a unique place. Most people
Hmm.
come and go within that time.
Yeah.
I've seen things change. I feel like okay, time for the incendiary statements controversial segment of this podcast. I feel like the people that are like the scene used to be about plur and now it's just about getting messed up are wearing nostalgia goggles. There has always been plur. It has always been smaller than the people that are just here to party. I
Hmm.
don't shame anyone for just partying. Party. Have a good time. Keep it to yourself. Like don't mess anyone else up, obviously. Like they
Right.
basic human decency. But like I've been sober for 6 years at this point, but
Oh wow,
I
congrats.
definitely thank you. I definitely used to go nuts. So like I get it. Like I get where you're at. Um, but I don't think that it's fair to say, oh, the scene used to be like, who cares what the scene used to be? Focus on what the scene is now, make it better. Like we don't live in the
Absolutely.
past. The only time I think it's okay to go back and really reach for is like the 90s, like 90s warehouse raves, or like even just for the sound, just the
Right.
sound of it was so good. Um,
Absolutely.
I would say that I've had incredibly positive experiences through the scene where I've met some of my very best friends that I still have to this day. Phaser, namely, me and him have I was one of the first artists released on Forsaken Collection. We did a collab. It was the first thing Forsaken ever released.
Nice.
Yeah, super cool dude.
Hmm.
Just a bunch of people that I've met. Ty, of course, my bandmates. Um, you through the scene
Hell yeah.
that I've made great friends and I've had these amazing experiences at live shows and whatever. And then there's also the side of the scene where like I feel like I'm hearing the same arguments that we've been having for the past 10 years regarding genre, regarding shows and etiquette, and like we do a lot of fighting and don't get a lot done.
Yeah. Yeah.
um which like I don't know how I feel about that. There's
No.
definitely like a toxic side, especially with um pick your words carefully, girl. Some the internet has largely made the world a smaller place,
Yeah.
but the dance scene for whatever reason varies wildly from place to place. Like the
Absolutely.
local scene where you are will be completely different. Your experience with the scene will not be my experience with the scene.
Right.
Um, so what I have to say is largely shaped by being in the Atlanta scene,
Right. Right.
and what it's like here.
Hmm.
Um, so like if you are dedicated to bass music and
Hmm.
you this is your thing, you love it, and you don't like the scene, literally try going somewhere else because it may be better. I it sounds stupid, but like I'm not far from Asheville, and like Asheville's super cool, and
Yeah. Love doing day trips there.
yeah, oh god, that place is great. It's so pretty. North Carolina as a state kind of sucks, but like Asheville's cool.
No, for sure, for sure. And in terms of safety too, like over the years, because I've been around the scene for about 10 years here too, like whenever it comes to safety, I don't know how you feel
Mhm.
about it, but I know for me, like I realize that there's a lot of like, and I feel like it's because of the internet and everything like that, that it's gotten a little bit safer. Like I don't hear nearly as
Yes.
many like things that I used to hear, right? You know what I mean? Like I think that like there's a little bit, and like this goes back to what you were saying about Plur. Like people are saying, "Oh, Plur is dead." I think it's still alive, like you were saying, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anything, I think it's more prevalent now. Like, sure, we're not all wearing candy anymore. I'm not
Right,
having
right,
my
right.
spirit hood or like my glow goggles, which I used to rock like all the time, right?
Right, right,
But
right.
at the same time, like I've seen so many instances of people that just like, bro, like you want some water? Hey, are you okay? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just randomly checking in. I could be
Helping
sitting there.
helping other people is plur. It doesn't matter if you do the handshake.
Absolutely.
Um as far as safety in the scene, like the number one thing I would say is that if your venue can afford it, whether you're a warehouse or a main stage, have Narcan on hand for the love of God,
Amen to
please.
that.
Like
Amen to
you're
that.
never going to stop people partying.
Right.
And right now, one of the big issues with partying is that a lot of things are contaminated. A lot of
Yep.
people are getting these high doses of fentanyl that they weren't looking to take.
Absolutely.
Um, so and even if they were, they still deserve to have their life saved. Like,
Absolutely.
um, so yes, one of my favorite bands, Health, had Narcan at their merch booth for free. When
No
I went to see
way.
them recently. Yeah, Health are awesome. They had Narcan and condoms for free, just like
Hell
next
yeah.
to the merch because they're
Hell yeah.
cool.
I love when artists do that, truth be told. Like
Shout out,
and what's
fucking shout out to Johnny from Health for letting me stand awkwardly next to you for like 30 minutes and talk about Baroque
hell
because you're
yeah.
cool.
Hell yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Like freaking Baroque, speaking of that, like the only Baroque I know is Baroque works from like One Piece because I'm an anime
Oh,
nerd.
it's a game. It's a game from the 90s and it doesn't feel real. It's
Really?
weird.
Like a fever
Yeah.
dream?
Yeah, it feels like a game someone would describe in like a creepypasta that they found that's haunted, except it actually exists and you can actually go play it. And it's just weird.
That's
Like
wild.
it's I could describe the whole plot to you and it does not like condense the experience of it's a 3D hack and slash roguelike released in 98 for the Sega Saturn.
That's wild.
It's
That's
insane.
wild. So back to like, the scene and how you've like been in it for 10 years and whatnot.
Mhm.
Like what's it like breaking out kind of thing? You know what I mean? Like not too many
Well,
artists say that they're, touring and stuff like that anymore kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, so the tour isn't like a bit like it's not it just kind of happened. It was weird. Like I came back to the scene and was like, you know what? I don't care about making it anymore. I'm just gonna make music
Mhm.
and play shows. And if people want me, they want me, whatever. And then it was like, hey, we got a show in Chattanooga. Hey, we got a show out here. Hey, we got a show out here. Hey, we got a show out here. And then I was like, oh, I can this is just a tour. This is at this point, this is just a tour.
Mhm.
Um, so like uh there is no breakout moment. The idea of like a single breakthrough moment where you've suddenly made it is a myth. I don't feel like I've made it. Certainly not at this point. I have a bunch of amazing opportunities, but I'm still, getting my music out there, still getting my name out there. This kind of a thing as well. Um, and it's a bunch of small breaks. It's a bunch of little moments. It's a handshake with this guy. It's a hug with that guy. It's a show here. It's a show there. It's a mixtape that gets maybe 100 more views than your last one, and it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like it happens over a very long time. Like some people have asked because of the band I'm in, Tyrant Hex is getting a lot of really big opportunities, and we just formed. And so people are like, well, how's that possible? And the answer is, I've been doing this for a long time. Ty ran a production company before this. He's been doing it for longer than me. Tony's been in the scene for forever. Kenny's in his 40s. So, like, we are all bringing all of our contacts and things that we've built up over all this time together to get the band these opportunities. It's not like overnight success is a myth. It doesn't exist
Absolutely.
unless you are like, I mean, even Lil Nas X, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at someone who went ultra viral overnight, right? Like
Right, right.
nobody, the Old Town Road everywhere. He
Gas.
was gas, fire, love Lil Nas X, saw him
Fire.
live when he was here. Long live Montero, that's my dude. Um, so he was working on like he had these whole blogs set up where he would post his own stuff as a blogger to try and get other bloggers to pick it up. Like he was
Really?
running the internet game for a while before Old Town Road happened. So like there's no, even if it's just you plan for a while and your first thing happens to go really well, which
Right.
never happens, but say it does, that's still not instant success. You had to spend all this time planning and prepping and learning. And like every hour you spend in your bedroom DJing, every hour you spend watching tutorials, every hour you spend learning to make music better is another hour towards being a successful musician.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I watched a really interesting video about needing to have an ego, but not having an ego in the sense that you're comparing yourself to other people. The ego side of things comes into play when you're going against yourself. Like creating a version in your head saying that like, okay, this version is my in my head is who I want to be kind of thing. Whenever I'm sitting here not doing anything, just scrolling on my phone or watching TV, that version of me is on the computer making music, you know what I mean? Networking, making content for God knows what to beat an algorithm kind of thing, right? So like all of these little
Sure.
things.
Counterpoint,
Counterpoint,
uh, the grind is toxic. Take care of yourself. You are a human being, not an algorithm. It is
true.
important to acknowledge that, like, sometimes you need to sit and be on your phone. Don't let it be the only thing you do, of course,
Right.
obviously. But like if you are like if you get because I this happened to me, especially
Okay.
with dosage, my work never ended. I was always like, I could be talking to someone, I could be working on something right now. And I got this like anxiety in the back of my head. I could never relax. So
Right.
like I would write a song and then I would contact someone and then I would practice and then I would contact someone. And I was just going and pacing and circling, driving myself mad, basically.
Right.
um Taking care of yourself is working towards your goals. Like don't forget that. Drink
Absolutely.
water, meditate, take breaks. Like it's
Drink your
you don't
water.
I know him. Shout out. Yeah,
Yes.
cool guy.
Awesome.
We've met.
Sorry to cut
We've
you
hung
off.
out. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
he was at the was that the Nautics show or were we at the same venue for something else?
I'm not sure, but like he used to play in Charlotte and he still does every
Yeah.
once in a while. Like I've known him whenever he
He's
went by his other project
Yeah, well, he plays down here with Iris like all the
all the time.
time,
Yeah.
and so
Hell
we've
yeah.
run into each other and talked. I wouldn't say we're like close or anything, but like
Right, right. So let me ask
Uh,
you this too. So like speaking of breaking out and whatnot, what do you think made yourself stand out? I know you said that you've definitely taken like interesting approaches to music, and we absolutely love that, right? You know what I mean? Having that
yeah,
purple cow, what Ilgate says, or like having that style, having that you, like how do you
yeah.
go creating that like image? How did you make yourself stand out?
That's a really great question because I had to do it twice because I did it once and didn't like it.
Right,
Um,
right.
the first image of Dosage was very manufactured. I looked at what other artists were doing, I put my twist on it, and I tried my best to be a character, right? I had this mask, I had this hood, I would perform, I played this specific genre. I tried to build this like lore and character and be this like fictional person to get attention. And it worked. What okay, it worked okay. But it's you can't live like that.
Absolutely.
So a lot of figuring out how to begin to break out in the scene as Misery, which is more closely to who I am in real life, um, was a lot of sitting and thinking on, okay, what makes me an interesting person? And
Hmm.
how can I make sure that that's the first thing people are seeing? Because I felt like that wasn't what I was doing with Dosage. I felt like there were a lot of things with me that make me weird and different and unique, and I wasn't showing them off. I was playing this sort of silent, stoic character, and I'm an ADHD crackhead. Like I run around in circles and talk constantly, and I'm always off the shits. Like that's me as a person. Um, and so I think it was a lot of like deciding not making a caricature of myself, but deciding which of my traits I wanted to portray through my art and media and put out first for people to notice that made me interesting and different. Um, and namely, I think like a lot of it is my contrast, like being named Misery and playing party music is like a weird thing. And then like if you talk to me, I'm a very jubilant person. I'm also fucking constantly miserable. That's why the name is Misery. I am misery. I'm always upset about something. I just don't talk about it. Not healthy. Don't do that. Uh, um yeah, so I think a lot of it was just like taking the skills that I developed over a long time and not being afraid to start fresh, not being afraid to let go of what I had done with Dosage and pick it up again. Because when I left Dosage, I wasn't sure that I would return. I didn't know that I
Really?
would come back to the scene or music at all. I was kind of done. I was very burnt out. I was playing out in Seattle. I remember distinctly, and I was sitting in the hotel room, and I was like, "I'm gonna die if I keep doing this. This is gonna kill me." Um, so I wasn't sure if I would ever come back.
Hmm.
Uh, but music's music, and if it's in your blood,
Yeah. Yep,
it's
it's
gonna come
true.
out.
It's true. It's a quote that I like to say is it's from a Breakin song. I don't know if you listen to Breakin's any,
Fucking
but like
love Breakin. Same. That's my
yes, that's
so
my
good.
shit.
Hypochondriac was like album of the fucking year for me.
Yes.
So good.
Yes. So
Oh,
good. So good. So like I've seen this man perform twice now, right? I
I haven't
literally
gotten to
showed
see him
up to
live
an
yet.
oh man, the next time he comes to Charlotte, I'll definitely let you know. But like he came here with
Fair.
Aries once, and I
Mm,
literally stayed for his set and left. Um, and
nice.
then he came as a headliner, and tickets were already sold out. And I was like, "Well, fuck, I'm not gonna miss this." So I literally spent
Pay
like a hundred
resale.
dollars just to
Yeah.
like hate resale. But like he has one lyric that like really stuck out to me in Deep Fake. It's an
Deep
endeavor
Fake
to
is
die or
such a good
create.
song. An endeavor
Such
to
a good
dire
song.
create. Yeah.
An
Oh
endeavor to
man.
die and create. That's like the biggest thing.
Uh,
You're either creating or you're dying.
yeah. There is no such thing as treading water. You're moving forward, being left behind. Um, yeah, that album's fucking amazing. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to Hypochondriac. It is
Yes.
beautiful, and like some of my friends really don't like it because of the. It depends on how much you appreciate like raw lyrics. He doesn't
Yeah.
do a lot of like metaphor. He's just
Right.
very much like this is it, and I
This
like
is it.
that. Some people don't.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah, and as a producer, Jesus
Oh
Christ, the
yes.
sound of that record is unbelievable. Uh,
Unbelievable.
listen to the songs Deep Fake and
5G is my other favorite.
Intellectual Greed. For me.
Intellectual Greed is amazing.
The way he handles the guitar riff on that is beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely. It's a lot of like I talked to my friends about this a little bit too. You got to be careful when listening to that album, right? Especially if you're like mentally like ill kind of thing.
yeah,
And that's primarily because there's a lot of dark energy in that album just because it's
yeah,
coming from such a raw place. And like
yeah,
we were talking about how like hair contains a lot of energy, which is why we think he shaved it after he created that album to
yeah.
get
I
rid
mean,
of that
he
energy
talks
kind of
about
thing.
that throughout the album, but enough, enough about
Right.
people we like. We'll be here all day.
Right, right. We got 10 minutes left, right? So
Mhm.
so I wanna play this track out that you had sent me first. And then I definitely wanna like get your final, you know what I mean, things in that you want to say, what's
Yeah.
coming up, you know what I mean, outside that if
Shout
anything that you can
outs,
give us,
blah blah blah.
shout outs,
Yeah,
that whole nine kind of thing, right?
yeah.
So give me just 1 second to get that up and
Take your
running
time.
here. Do
And
you
this is a preview version. It may change when you hear it on the record, which
heard?
there is an EP coming, based around this track. Uh, whole thing's gonna be based around it. The name of
Hell
it
yeah.
is, I'll go ahead and release it. It's a Headache Machine.
Headache
Uh,
Machine.
yeah.
What
So,
made you pick that name?
do you know the artist Fentanyl?
No.
Uh, love Fentanyl. If you like hyperpop, if you like noise
Love
music,
hyperpop.
you will love Fentanyl. Go listen to Push Your Temper. Love that
Yeah.
song.
Hell
Uh, someone in the comments was like, I can only listen to your music for so long before it starts to like fuck with me. And she was like, yeah, it definitely is headache music. And I was like, I
yeah.
love that. I'm stealing that. I'm aping that from you.
Yes.
So Fentanyl, if you see this for whatever reason, shout out. I shot you an email. Respond to me.
Respond. Respond to her. All right. So can you hear this?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna start it over and let's
Mm-hmm.
get this. Come
Do you
on.
want me to
There we
give
go.
comments on it as we go, or just let it play?
Let it play, and then if you have any comments, you could say it after if you're cool with that.
Can do.
Perfect. All right. Let's hit it. Okay, first off, I loved your vocal processing on that,
Thank you.
especially how clean that drop is. Like, I think that you like I could tell you got like where you like the tear out, because you said that you definitely had that background kind of thing, but
Yeah,
like how
for
you
sure.
blended those hyper pop like elements into it kind of thing.
Yeah. And all the drums are like chopped amen samples. So there's that from like breakcore as well. There is a
That's sick.
layer of like traditional dubstep drums in there.
Hmm.
But they are all layered with chopped like amen hits, even through the drop.
So
Um,
like you said before, that's your voice though, right?
yes, that's my voice.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Uh, yeah, I use Nectar primarily. You can do crazy things
Nectar.
with that program. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
it's I think it's like Nectar, and then I don't remember the exact vocal chain, but it's like that, and then like a multi-band, and then like a beat repeat that I messed with in Ableton
I love
to
beat
to
repeat.
like to cut the vocals up and stuff. Yeah, and then the whole thing was just based around sort of this like little choir chop that I did at the start there. That was like the
Mhm.
first thing I made for it, and then everything else was built off of that.
I
The
was just
main
about to ask, how do you typically start your tracks?
so I'm a little bit weird.
Uh,
I start my tracks sort of by finding a melody that grabs my ear,
sure.
and then I write chords, and then I redo the melody to match the chords. So like I've been really interested lately in there's this Japanese chord progression called the Royal Road progression. It's very common. Um that I've been sort of messing with and rearranging. I think I just did yeah, so I know a good bit about theory, and I'm not gonna ramble on chord structures forever, but essentially there's the four pop chords in Western music, and then in
Yep.
Japanese music there's the Royal Road progression, and it's a very similar thing. You just hear a lot less of it here. So some of the new stuff I'm working on has been based on that.
Nice.
But yeah, for this one, I just started with a sort of like a sample pad and just cutting up like that sample of a choir that I had, and then throwing a break under it because it's a break. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
Um, the bass was very inspired by like I listen to a lot of like synthwave, dark wave, like goth music.
Yeah, I love those saw
Uh,
waves,
yeah, this very simple modulated saw waves, very like you can see a
but it
guy in the
works.
circle lenses like playing it on some
Yeah,
keyboard in
yeah.
Berlin. Like, um, and then everything I do has like a cyberpunk theme to it. That's just I'm
Hmm.
super into
Hmm.
that. It's where the vocals came from, and it was meant to sound glitchy and like half broken. Um, the drop is to me the most interesting part of the song because yeah, it's sort of an intentional fusion of tear out and like techno
Yeah.
in this like
Yeah, I can see it.
pulsing like square wave bass and these like weird technological atonal off key like like high
Yep.
glitchy things, but then it's like cut up and heavy. It's just I'm very proud of that one.
Hell yeah.
It's exactly the mess I wanted to make.
Hell yeah. I love when that works out. So
Yeah.
so we got less than 2 minutes remaining. Is there any last things that you want to say to the audience?
Shout out to Electrostep Network for connecting us. Zach's cool dude. What's up, dude? Shout out to Tyrant Hex, my bandmates. They're all super cool. Shout out to my mom, always, for supporting and loving me. She's the best. Um, Shout out to the creators of Ergo Proxy. Just love Ergo Proxy. Got a tour coming up. We're still finalizing all the dates. It's going to be sort of a mix between dates I have, dates Forsaken Collection is performing as a group, and dates the band is collecting. But everything I'm involved with will be gathered together and released probably in some flyer form by the time this interview comes out. Um, the tour will have a name by then. Um, that's going to be coming up soon. So if you want to see what we do live, see me yell at you in person. That'll be there.
All
The
links
Headache
will be
Machine,
provided too.
yeah, the Headache Machine EP is coming out soon. Hopefully gonna be with Zach on that one. Maybe
Hell
Zach or
yeah.
Forsaken, one of the two.
All right. So this has been Ashley, aka Misery. and Abe, aka Lullaby, with another Lullaby Stories. I appreciate everybody who's stayed so far to watch this. And all the links are going to be down below in the comments. So make sure you check that out. All of Ashley's good stuff, whether it be from her band or Misery, all of it's going to be down below. So make sure you're following. Make sure you're definitely giving her make sure you're definitely keeping track of her for sure, because she's gonna be doing some big things for sure. All right,
Oh God, is this a big things coming post?
big things are coming, post man. Freaking that sleep paralysis demon over your bed is just a DJ going, big things are happening. Big
Big
things are gonna
things
happen.
happening. Big things happening.
Oh, that would be my worst nightmare. But anyways,
Oh, God.
thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope you have a great day. And for
Glad
everybody
being
else
here.
watching, I hope you have a great week. Keep working, but also make sure that your mental health is your mental wealth and take care of that. All right.